In this video, I'm going to be discussing the astrology for the week of November 5th through 11th of this year. So, whether you act on the information that I give you today or not, I hope that you find value in this information. So, we begin on Monday, November 6th, with a trine from Venus to Pluto. So trines are very positive aspects between two planets. They're usually when a planet and another planet form an in-element similarity, meaning that one planet is in a sign of one element and that other planet is in the sign of the same element. So Venus is in late Virgo, Pluto is in late Capricorn. So they form together in the sky and they create a trine. So trines are really positive aspects. They're very harmonious. They are very luxurious aspects. However, they can make us lazy when we do not see the opportunities that they give us. And when we don't see those opportunities, we don't really act on the energies of the trine. They just sit there in the sand waiting for us to do something about it, but we don't do anything about it because we may not see it. It may be unconscious. The energy may be so comfortable and so fluid, but we do not see it. Well, we don't always see it unless we choose to use astrology in a conscious way. So Venus is the planet of love, it's beauty, it is pleasure, it's romance, it's the money planet. It rules over in a sort of I believe never mind. I'm not gonna try to guess on that. Pluto is the planet of death, transformation, destruction, rebirth. So Venus trine Pluto. This could give you a lot of drive and intensity present in your relationships. It could also give you the empowerment to know what you want in a relationship, knowing what you want and going after what you desire. So, why are you in a relationship in the first place? What do you want out of this relationship? So this is also great for buying things, making investments into things. This could also bring a heightening of sexual drive. If there is any relationship approach or anything that doesn't serve you in relationships, now is the time to let that go. Because Pluto, at best, is the one that brings us personal empowerment. But that can only happen if we release what doesn't work for us anymore, what we know doesn't work. And yet we still cling to it because it feels familiar, because it feels comfortable, because we're so used to it and we're so accustomed to whatever it is that we don't let it go. We don't take the opportunity to answer the call that the universe gives to us to say, let this go, and we continue to hold on to it because our egos desire sameness. However, when we, in terms of releasing relationships or releasing a certain way that we go about relationships, we can actually find a lot more joy and a lot more meaning and a lot more peace because we have made a decision to let go of whatever it is. So, releasing something in terms of money, maybe it's an investment, maybe it's something that you bought that you just don't like. You try to like it, you try to enjoy it, you can't. So, it's great to let that go. If there is something that you're indulging in Maybe it's something that brings you pleasure, that brings you peace, but it doesn't bring you peace. Maybe it could be overeating or indulging in sugar and those kind of things like that, and you know that it's not good for you, then it's time to let that go. Or again, coming back to relationships that don't work for you, let that go. So it's this letting go that has to happen on this day and around this particular time. So note to self on the day that this trine occurs, let something go, because that's Pluto energy. Because when we let go, we allow more space for something new to take that space. And so whenever Pluto comes into the mix, we are not messing around. Pluto demands release. That's the whole thing with Pluto. So, what this could also mean is we may be more, well, we may be, is it a prediction or is it a prescription? Now's the time to be more open to growth and transformation. Because when we're in a relationship, there's a solid reason why we are in a relationship. We're not in a relationship just to come out being the same old person. We're in a relationship for the growth and for the learning and for the wisdom that is given to us by our partner. That's why we're in a relationship, to see who we can be against another, with another, in communion, in a partnership with another. Life is not about continuing to do what you already know that you're good at. Life is about getting good at something and then having to get good at something else and having to get good at something else. It's a continual process of growth and transformation. It is a continual process of mountain after mountain after mountain after mountain after mountain to climb. And when we reach the summit of one, we have another growth and challenge, because that really makes life worth living when we have these challenges, these trials and tribulations, these opportunities for us to evolve and move into who we were truly meant to be, you know. So we were not shoved down under the bus. We really weren't. So it's a good opportunity to be open to any kind of growth, any kind of change when it comes to relationships. Maybe the partner needs to leave and go somewhere else because there's a job opening up in Canton, Ohio that the partner wants to take, but you don't support that decision because you want the partner to be closer to you. Maybe it could be something other that may involve you adapting to a change that could take place. But now is the time to change something up in relationships, to let go of a certain way of being in a relationship that worked out, but you know that there's something more that you want to happen. Maybe it could be, well, we don't connect enough, so let's make time for more connection. Let's play a game together, or communicate better, or talk things out more, or maybe make things a little bit more 50-50 between the two of us playing equal roles. So these are the kind of things that have to be looked at, because if we're not open to growth, then why are we even in certain relationships that bring us a lot of growth? So with this comes a yearning to connect with people on a deep level. So what this could be is you're connecting with somebody on a soul-to-soul level. You're locking eyes with them. You're connecting like you would connect with a puppy when they're not giving you the ego, the words, things on the superficial level. It's really about you being willing to connect with people from a soul to soul connection, that kind of thing. Now, the other aspect that's taking place on November 6th is a trine from Mercury to Neptune. Now, Mercury's our planet of communication. It is the mind, it is the intellect, it's the planet of how you learn information, how you perceive information, it's how you gather and collect all the information to put into a project or proportionate writing. It is just the data collector. Mercury is the data collector. Neptune is the planet of dreams and intuition and spirituality and fantasy and illusion. Those are all very Neptunian concepts. So when Mercury is in trine with Neptune, this is a good opportunity to create, to imagine something. This is great for anything that you're doing that involves imagination. So imagine something, create something new during this time, because it could come back to not bite you, but be a great success. So this is great energy to put to use for anything creative. If you're painting something, if you're writing something, if you're writing poetry, if you are just building something new. Maybe it could be, I don't know, making a new recipe that you've never tried before. Maybe it could be walking a different way on the street. It could be watching something different, anything that you wouldn't normally do. Anything that's kind of out of the box and whamby-pamby and necessarily creative. This is, great energy for that. Doing something that is creative, that involves you being creative. So, this could be, another part of this is the part that Neptune rules that covers over dreams and empathy. So this could be speaking from a place of loving compassion and care. So having conversations where you're compassionately and caringly listening and speaking to another. It could be really very insightful to have these kind of conversations. So the downside of this energy is that your mind may not be too into details. You may find maybe not. So it's not the time that you want to be too much into the details. It's more time of compassion and love. It's a time that you want to connect with somebody on an emotional level, be there with them, cherish them, nurture them, those kind of things. Um, so this is great for communicating communication on the nonverbal level, through like hand motions or sign language, or it could be just intuition. Maybe it is communication that could be just understood without words. So this is also great energy for heightening your intuition, heightening that part of you that knows this is the way to go. This is the way to steer away from. So heightening your intuition is also something to take advantage of this energy. So another thing is the inspiration to create. Maybe maybe you could or couldn't feel more creative, but this is a time when you definitely want to create something, um, and do whatever you feel inspired to do. This is also great for turning your visions into reality. So anything that you know, you are creating in your mind, now is the time to bring it down to reality, to manifest it down. The other way this could show up is the universe could aid you in the physical form. It's important to be open to universal connection in the physical reality. So then we move on to November 8th. So we have several things happening on November 8th. The first of which is Mercury sextiling Pluto in Capricorn. So Mercury is finishing up its transit in Scorpio. Pluto is finishing up its transit in Capricorn. It's going to move into Aquarius January next year. So with Mercury sextile Pluto, sextiles are windows of opportunity. So Mercury is in Scorpio, Pluto is in Capricorn. Sextiles are always two signs apart from each other. The two planets involved are always two apart from each other. So sextiles are really positive aspects, and they usually present an opportunity for us to take advantage of, that we are looking at, and we are going to act upon them. So with Mercury and Pluto in a sextile, this is great energy for convincing others of your ideas, for the power of persuasion, deep thinking. This could also be probing into things, finding the roots of things. This could be honest communication, communicating honestly and intensely and deeply about something. This could be the time for getting to the bottom of mysteries, really getting to the root core of something in your life, of something psychological or something physical or something non-physical. Um, so delving into mysteries, this is great energy for that. Um, Maybe it could be immersing yourself into a subject, going all into it, really absorbing it really quickly. Maybe, like, what are you passionate about? What are you super interested in that you're all of a sudden finding now it's time to really go at it with full gusto? Maybe it's cooking, or maybe it's ancient Rome, or maybe it's anthropology, whatever it may be. Dig into it, delve into it, get right into it this time. It's not a time for superficial learning, it's a time of deep learning. Um, it's a time to go beyond and see things below the surface, to not get caught into the superficial, but to dig below the ground. So your thoughts could be more intense, and maybe your words are more intense and piercing and strong and powerful at this time. Then Venus enters its home sign of Libra on November 8th. And so when Venus enters Libra, it's a time for harmonious conversations, harmonious interactions. Um, Maybe you're feeling more harmonious when it comes to your approach to relationships. This is great for diplomacy, peacemaking, not fighting, but finding win-win solutions, win-win situations. equality and fairness between, in your relationships, in your partnerships could also be a huge thing with this. That both partners are doing the same thing. They're pulling their weight the exact same way, 50-50, that kind of thing. It's not one partner putting in more of the effort than the other. It's really a balance between the two people in tandem, in right harmony with each other. So this is a time to deeply care about the other in a deep and loving way. This is a gentle reminder from the cosmos to relate, to know how to relate, to consider the needs and wants and desires and ideas of other people in our relationships. Not just sit by and just not respond when they're asking a question or when they're talking to you, but to engage, to have conversations, to do what is in the best interest for them, to be in their good graces, to be room, to be caring and considerate and compassionate to others. This is a really huge signature of this particular transit. So the downside of this could be peace at all costs. Even if it means we're codependent on other people, we let them decide our decisions for us. We let them decide our futures, our goals, what we decide to do in our lives, what we decide to take action on. So that's the downside of this. So it's important not to get caught in the shadow side of Libra energy, which is always codependency, always people pleasing. So it's not a good time to be in terms of being aggressive, because those kind of aggressive, intense things could turn us off, even if we are in Scorpio season. So the question that we need to ask ourselves is, are we open to the ideas and wants and desires of others, or are we too self-focused and not open-hearted enough to receive the love that other people have to give to us? So this is a time where relationships can thrive. This is a time to focus on your relationship, opening your heart chakra, because it's through the heart that we love. And so anything that can, if it's music, if it's meditation, if it is poetry, whatever opens up our heart energy, our heart chakra, to do at this time. So you want to be doing things that can open that up during this time. So, this is important. This is an important transit to deepen our connection with other people. We can also make some healthy compromises. In addition, we can talk about the issues in relationships that are going on. Now is the time to talk it out and smooth things over. It's time to collaborate with other people. So this is also a transit for making sure that relationships are balanced. Now, this transit is also good for beauty, art, and creativity. Anything that checks off those boxes can be really spectacular. So, is it a painting? Is it a work of art? It is, anything that involves beauty, art, creativity. That's something that you definitely want to be doing. So, where are we, where do you need to love more? Where do you need to receive more love? Or, do you need to receive more love? So now is the time to really turn up the charm. And it's also a time to be more social, to not be so caught in our own little world, but to get out there to meet new people, to engage with life as best we can, or to engage with the people closest to us, to talk, to have more conversations. So, whatever that may be for you, whatever resonates for you, it's time to be more social and focus on relationship. So, on November 10th, Mercury enters Sagittarius until December 1st. Now, Mercury will be in Sagittarius until December 1st. Mercury goes retrograde in Capricorn on December 13th. It re-enters Sagittarius on December 23rd. Mercury stations direct on January 12th next year, and Mercury leaves Sagittarius on January 13th of 2024. So that's a little timeline. So what this could mean when Mercury is in Sagittarius, it could be you're generous with your communication. It could be a time where you're seeing the bigger picture of things, not getting so caught in the little details, but seeing the larger vision of things, the larger goal, the larger objective point that you want to reach, the larger target that you want to shoot your arrow into to be able to get. So this is also great for learning about a wide range of topics. If there's a bunch of things that you're interested in, this is the transit when you want to be learning and studying those things. Asking big questions and getting big answers. What do I have to say about that? Well, Sagittarius is about the big quests of truth, the big answers, the big philosophical truths. So now is the time to focus on philosophy and exploration of the mind and learning and growing in broad ways. Now, I'm not going to get too into this because I'm going to be doing another video on Mercury in Sagittarius, the Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius is going to be happening from December 13th through January 1st, which I'm going to be doing next week. So a couple other aspects taking place this week. First of all, Mercury squaring Saturn. This is also going to be happening on November 10th. So when Mercury is squaring Saturn, we can be pessimistic. We could see the worst in things because Saturn is the realist. It is that planet that brings us down to reality, brings us down to how things are in the physical world, no matter how you feel about them, no matter how you want to envision them or how do you want to see them. Saturn is the realist. It is bringing you down to what's real, to what's actually going on, not what you're fantasizing about. So squares always bring out the more negative or darker traits of the two planets involved. So this can be pessimism, this can be seeing the worst in things. So it's going to be really important not to get too caught up in the flaws of things at this time. So this is the time when you want to focus on hard work, any hard work that involves attention to detail. This is definitely the time to be focusing on that hard work, studying for your driver's test. It could be reading books. It could be focusing on that next email that you have to send to your boss, or that next promotion dealing, or that next business check, whatever it may be that involves attention to detail. Maybe it's reading through a contract really, really carefully so you don't miss the little details. The downside that you really shouldn't get caught up in is the cold and calculating detached part of this, because Mercury and Saturn can bring about a detachment where there is this detached quality where you're not connecting in an emotionally tuned up way. That could be a downside of this. Now, also, this is great for seeking advice from a trusted individual, seeking wisdom for what to do, how to go about your life, etc. Now, because it's a square, it may be challenging to focus and get the tasks done that you need to get done. But now is the time to really, really focus on those tasks and get that hard work that requires a lot of focus and a lot of discipline completed. So you may feel more depressed or down at this time. Maybe not. Maybe that's how you always feel. And maybe this transit brings up more emphasis around that unconsciously or consciously, no matter how you realize it. But the downside of this is getting caught in feeling depressed or low. Now, there's also something really, really important when it comes to being objective at this time. So choosing objectivity, choosing to see things as they are, facing the reality, making decisions through logic and rationale, not getting caught up in the fantasies, but pragmatically and practically making decisions and living your life. So on November 11th, Mars is going to be opposite Uranus exactly. So when Mars, the planet of action, aggression, desire, ambition, your drive, your motivation, is opposite Uranus, the planet of the wild, unexpected, revolutionary energy. This could be a time when you want to look before you leap. It's not a time to be making impulsive decisions or acting from a place of emotional intensity and aggression. So this is also not a great aspect for breaking free from tradition or authority figures that limit you. There's a reason why you have people in your life, and they are there to really teach you a lot of wisdom. So that's something important to remember around this particular time. So some potential downfalls of this is sudden outbursts of anger, maybe, through whatever it is in your physical environment. So the downside of this can be just, rebelling for no reason whatsoever. Rebel for a reason, rebel for a cause. Don't rebel just for the sake of rebelling. So, maybe you have the desire to be different, to be original at this time. And so now's the time to move on that particular path, to do something different, to do something out of the box, to do something surprising, to do something innovative, where you're really a maverick in your own life. So that's something to think about too, is just to do something that is off the beaten path. So it's important to rein in your emotions at this time and not get into accidents. Again, looking before you leap, and you will be golden. All right, that is your astrology for the week. I hope that you found value out of this. And I'll see you on another video. Bye, everybody.